Okay, so tier 6 CV options, clan battles. We're going to look at the 6 options of the carriers that are available to you and kind of go over in a basic sense, you know, what's each one's kind of grades going to be. Damage on the Ryujo. She has excellent torpedoes. Her rockets are poor, anemic. They're accurate, but they're awkward to aim, especially after the the rocket change. And the bombs are not reliable, especially against cruisers. Not to say you can't hit them, just to say that they are unreliable. Because of the strength of the torpedoes, I would say this one's probably a B+. If I had to class it as such, maybe an A-. So we'll go on that. Ranger bomb's going to be more consistent. They could light fires. That synergizes well with your team. The torps are consistent. They're not highly mobile, but they're not bad. They are consistent, I should say. The rocket planes are going to be more of a medium difficulty in terms of landing and medium size in terms of reticle. I would also give this one probably a B+. I don't know if I'll give it an A+ or an A-, because while it's consistent, it's really not like a clear winner. Furious is interesting. Furious is going to get an asterisk because of the specialty of its damage. Basically, it's got good pen for the tier. Its rocket planes really can interact with the stuff that you're going to interact with, and it has the fastest firing rockets, and also rockets that could theoretically trip over a DD and still be able to hit it. So because of that, we've got some novelty value. And its bombs have 32 mil penetration, so they have the ability to really rip into maybe a US battleship or something that's got a lot of 26 mil and just doesn't have much in the way of armor. But its bombs are going to be conditionally awkward against cruisers that are too thin, because you're just going to miss a lot. That being said, we're going into the possibility of a double CV situation, and the carpet bombs can actually approach a CV and drop without dealing with the fighter, and possibly without losing a plane, which means you could actually kind of pull something like the Indomitable does, where you're basically slingshotting, although you're not slingshotting, on top of a CV and just striking it, and dragging it down. Because you could theoretically get 8 to 10,000 hits off of carpet bombs and light multiple fires, especially if the damage con is down, and just like burn this thing to the ground. That being said, again, I have an asterisk because it's conditional. The torps are very solid because they're very maneuverable, especially for what they can do. That's kind of a British specialty. I'm going to end up giving this one a C+ to a B-, only because the torps are the reliable thing. The rockets and bombs are less reliable. I guess that looks kind of like a G, but that's actually going to be a C+. We'll just have to remember that that's what that is. Weser. This one I'm going to give a different asterisk to. So Weser is a German CV, and because of that, it needs to rely on citadels. That could be hard. You might find yourself against an all-destroyer comp. You could. You don't have the ability to control that. You could find yourself against some cruisers that you're going to have an extremely hard time getting citadels on. They might just have, frankly, too much armor for what you can do, or be very maneuverable in a way that you just don't have access to that citadel. Or there might be a smoke comp where they're constantly in smoke and you don't have access to the citadel. Because of that, it really becomes conditional. And while the Lowenhart has tier 8 penetration on its rockets, the Weser has tier 6. So there are some things that it's just not going to interact with in the same way that the Lowenhart's going to have. Also, the AP bombs, kind of like the Ryujo, could be good, might not be good. It's also more oriented toward battleships that has a larger reticle. You're going to see primarily cruisers in clan battles. They're going to have cruiser level guns, they're going to have cruiser level health. While you will see some destroyer comps running around, cruisers are going to be the backbone of clan battles in general, which means the Weser might be a little too inaccurate for it. And the torps are going to be anemic. They're German torps, so they're accurate, but they're not powerful. So understanding that there's a condition here, like if this Furious condition, is met, maybe it bumps up a letter grade. Maybe it goes B to A. Weser, same thing. Maybe it bumps up half a letter grade, but in this case, I'm going to give it a C to a B minus. Maybe even a C to a C plus. In fact, I'm actually going to change that to a C plus, because your toolkit is, one, extremely reliant on the enemy ships and extremely reliant on the accuracy of the strike, and that depends on what they're going to give you. Lowenhart is Vesser but better. It's more versatile. It has better pen on the rockets. It does not have AP bombs. It has HE bombs, which means not only do they have a smaller reticle, which is designed for a battleship, but is perfectly capable of hitting cruisers, as well as consistently capable of hitting destroyers. It might only do 4,000 damage, but 4,000 damage at tier 6 is not a joke. Gonna have to put the Lowenhart as a B plus to an A minus. Actually, I think I'm gonna leave it as an A. No, I will put it as an A minus because I find the torps to be anemic. Lowenhart is definitely going to be rated on an equivalent to what the Ryujo can put out, but I would say that the Lowenhart is actually more maneuverable and more accurate than the Ryujo. Also, because it has its threat on 2 different ammo types as opposed to primarily just the torps, it's a little more versatile there as well. Ark Royal damage is A plus. You don't beat this. This is great. The rockets are going to pen even heavy cruisers? Well, I think so. I think they pen even heavy cruisers. Like a Pensacola has 25 millimeters of armor, and the Ark Royal rockets pen 26. The bombs only do 19, but there's a lot of them, and if there are against DDs or some lightly armored carriers like a Ryujo, you can bomb those and do significant amounts of damage. The Ark Royal is also the only one that drops 3 torpedoes at a time, which can absolutely beat the shit out of battleships if you're against those, can beat the shit out of carriers if you're against those, and can absolutely devastate cruisers if you're able to land all 3 into them, because it's about 15 to 16,000 damage against a cruiser that might have 32,000 health. It is not a joke. Damage-wise, Ryujo absolutely stands out. Lowenhart absolutely stands out. Ark Royal stands out. Ranger is consistent. Furious and Vesser are going to be niche, reliant upon a situation where they can excel. Resource-wise, Ryujo is going to get an A. Vesser is going to get an A. Ark Royal is going to get an A plus because the Ark Royal has low. It has low health. Well, not even that low health planes, but they're very numerous. They have very aggressive regen. We're going to have a Ranger with maybe a B to a B plus. And Furious and Lowenhart are going to be more in that kind of like low B, maybe a C plus to a B minus. So we'll go ahead and do that. So what does all this mean? Ryujo has very rapid replenishment. Doesn't have a ton of planes, but in a kind of a Japanese manner, planes are going to die. You know, they're made of paper. They're going to go out there. They're going to get shredded. Gone. But you're going to be able to pull more out of stock and keep kind of throwing them into the wood chipper. US is going to have a little more health because it has a little more health. It takes a little longer to regen. Furious is going to have even more health because it has even more health. It's going to take even longer to regen. The interesting thing about that is Furious and Lowenhart, I believe, have the same regen time and like the same plane count. But Lowenhart has significantly less health. It does have more speed, but it has significantly less health. So the resources you have, if you lose those planes, you're going to be crippled much faster over the course of the match than you would be in a different ship. That being said, hopefully with the precise whatever of the Lowenhart, it's not going to be that bad. Vesser has similar regen rates to the Ryujo, so it's able to lose some planes and continue, doing the thing. It's got faster, lower health planes, just like the Japanese, faster, lower health planes. And the Ark Royal has very slow planes. Because they're very slow, you will lose a lot of them. They are not very maneuverable. They're pretty sluggish. They're ridiculously slow. So it has a very high regen rate. They kick out crap loads of planes. And I think you start with a bunch at the beginning of the match, which is going to give you... It's going to set you up for an initial bout of capability. But at the same time, your speed is going to hold you back. Detection. Ryujo is hands down the winner. A plus plus plus. The Ryujo is extremely hard for anybody to find, especially in an aerial situation. If Hidden Menace gets fixed before the clan battle season kicks off, the Ryujo likely has less aerial detection than its AA range. So you would actually trip inside of its AA range before you could see it. I mean, granted, it would be lit when the AA lights up, but nonetheless, like, that's pretty damn huge. Ranger sucks. Ranger's going to be a D. Also, Arc Royal is going to be a D. And, I mean, we're talking A's and B's and C's and stuff. Why am I talking a D? Because Ranger has so much surface detection that on a tier 6 map, if one flank falls, if you haven't taken your Ranger and hidden it behind a rock somewhere or moved it aggressively into a position expecting a flank to fall, then those ships are going to come around that flank, see your CV, and kill it. Dead. You won't have anywhere to run. You can't hide the thing. You're not going to sit back there with a smoke cloud trying to keep it alive somehow. You're going to run it to the edge of the map and it's going to die. Ranger's detection sucks. Arc Royal's detection also sucks. And this is compounded with the extremely slow planes of the Arc Royal, meaning if you need to respond to a fast evolving situation that happens to be on the other flank that you're not on right now, well, when you recall and you get to your planes, you have to go your full detection range and more to be able to get there in the slowest planes available to you. It's obnoxious. And by the time you show up, it may be too late. You can try through very, very aggressive positioning to put the Arc Royal against a rock somewhere that's going to block its detection so that it can actually get on target more quickly. That's going to be something you're going to have to figure out as each map, where do you place your carrier on each map? How do you get it to that point without it being dead? That's going to be something that takes actual strategizing before the match. Because this is quite literally a crippling weakness. Arc Royal is designed with bad detection and bad speed, and they both play off of each other. So when the Arc Royal shows up, she's going to show up, she's going to bring the beers, and she's going to start cracking them open and partying. But it's going to take her a while to show up, and, well, the party, might actually be over by the time she gets there. Furious and Vesser are okay. Lowenhart is kind of like a... we'll give it like a B-, and Furious and Vesser I think are probably more in like the B plus A. We'll say something like that. Vesser's actually fairly stealthy. Lowenhart's a little less stealthy, but not quite as obnoxious. If I double check that real quick, just for understanding's sake, Lowenhart's concealment is 13-1. Arc Royals, I might be reading this wrong. Is Arc Royal 12 and Lowenhart is 13 and I completely just lied to you on camera? Well, yes, it turns out I think I did. All right, cool. Well, that's actually good to know that we can actually swap these now that I've given you all this terrible tastic information. That the Lowenhart, I'm still gonna give it a C because it still sucks. The Arc Royal. So we're going to give the Arc Royal a C instead of a D. We're going to upgrade it a little bit because the planes are still obnoxiously effing slow. I'm going to leave in the long lecture on why the Arc Royal is obnoxious, because after multiple attempts to try to make the Arc Royal work, the answer was the Arc Royal was obnoxious. So I'm just going to go ahead and preface that in there. In the last Tier 6 Clan Battle season, everybody thought the Arc was going to be the pick because she's just the damage, the resources, and the answer was she was not the pick. All right, maneuverability. Maneuverability is really more in the plane sense. For the Ryujo, it's going to be a C. The lower tier planes are more maneuverable than the higher tier planes, but even still, she has the ability to be outplayed. She has the ability to be outmaneuvered. Now, granted, if you got a whole bunch of people shooting at you at the time, your maneuverability, your enemy's maneuverability is going to be constrained. But she is not nimble. Really not nimble. Ranger's probably going to be like a B-. Furious is actually going to be even better. Probably a B+, I would say. Well, we'll do a B. We'll just do a flat B. Vesser is going to be an A. Lowenhart is going to be an A. I might actually do Vesser at an A+, because it's really got quite a bit of maneuverability going on. And Ark Royal, as far as maneuverability, it's part of the balancing. She brings the party, but she's not, you know, she's kind of drunken in her swaying. I'm actually going to have to put this about where the Ryujo is, because actually I'm going to put it worse than the Ryujo. I'm going to give that a D. If you've ever dropped with the Ark Royal, you've dropped torps into something, the amount of time it takes you to slowly effing turn back to get that second drop in. If you're against, if you're in a clan battle with coordinated AA, with layered stuff, you're going to lose planes. You're going to lose a lot of planes trying to turn the hell around to get the second drop off. It's going to suck because it's really, really, really slow. You can figure it out, but I mean, strengths and weaknesses, you know, it is where it is. All right, versatility. Is the Ryujo versatile? Yes. But not against DDs. It's possible that you could torp a DD if the DD is sufficiently constrained. You know, I had some highlights or whatever. You get 2 torps into a DD, it's a straight up kill, because DDs will have 13,000, 10,000 health, whatever. If they've got a little bit of damage into them, two torps could kill it. So there's the possibility of something there, but the rocket planes on the Japanese line are the worst in terms of trying to like find the line, pick the line, set the line, yada yada. They take the longest to prep. They have the least amount of maneuverability, and because they have the most accurate reticle, you better not miss, because if you miss completely. Ranger, versatile. Yes, but I'm gonna put a W for kind of weak. So you're gonna primarily go against cruisers, and the US line, the rockets can deal with cruisers, but they don't deal tons of damage. The torps can deal with cruisers, but they're a little sluggish, so the cruisers can outmaneuver them. The bombs can deal with cruisers, but the reticle's built for battleships, so you might miss. In general, the amount of damage that you can successfully apply onto a cruiser with the Ranger is inconsistent. And because it's inconsistent, it starts getting really frustrating. Sometimes you land all the torps, sometimes all the bombs connect, sometimes you get multiple fires, and the stuff just melts because you have the ability to show up and just nail something. Other times, no, which is really an issue. Furious, versatile, no. You have the ability, so we'll give a little plus to DD here. You have the ability to rocket destroyers. You could even bomb them with the carpet bombs, but it depends on what you're going against as to how you're going to be able to do it. And also we'll put a little plus T because the torps are pretty kicking, because you can maneuver the torps in ways that you can't on others. Vezer, also no. She's going to have maneuverable torps, but because of the AP issues where you need to get citadels, this is going to be a real problem for the Vesser, because if you don't get stuff that you're going to get citadels off of, then the Vesser's just going to fall behind. The more generic damage of the Ryujo, the more generic damage of the Ranger is going to outpace the Vesser, and that could theoretically result in a ship kill where the other one's not, and that could suddenly put your team ahead or behind. Lowenhart, yes, very versatile. HE bombs, excellent. Anything you hit, you hurt. Rockets have a high enough pen that you can even citadel stuff that, you know, it would not normally be able to citadel with a Vesser, for instance, because the pen just isn't there. So much more consistent in terms of being able to citadel things, carriers, cruisers, not battleships, of course. And then bombs are chef's kiss, beautiful. It's just the torps suck. So I'm going to put a negative T because the torps are kind of ass. They had to pull the power out of something, and they pulled them out of the torps, so they're pretty unimpressive. Versatile, Ark Royal, yes. In fact, I'm going to give it 2 check marks because the bombs cover DDs, but also cruisers, kind of. The torps cover cruisers, but also battleships. The rockets cover battleships, but also cruisers, but kind of destroyers. Like, there's so much overlapping possibility with the Ark Royal that her weapons are great. They're really, really great. It just comes down to, are they going to be where you need them to be when you need them to be there? it's not about whether the weapons are capable of dealing with the situation. It's about whether they make it to the situation before everybody goes home. All right, so kind of a full overview over what's going on. I do want to kind of recap all of this with a caveat. Unless you are playing in like the highest of the high, hurricane of the hurricane, tip of the spear, best of the best, yada yada. Most carrier players play the carrier you are the most comfortable with, because the differences between this carrier and that carrier are going to be fairly minute, except in this area. Detection will get your CV killed in ways that you cannot stop. Detection will mean that if you're going against a doubles battleship comp, the enemy CV keeps you lit and you die. Or a single battleship comp, whatever. The battleship with range kills you because you're detected from space. You're screwed. Or a flank falls and you run up against the wall and there's no way out. Like, detection is the difference between your carrier getting owned or your carrier lasting to have a lasting impact across the battle. Outside of this, if you can apply damage in one of these carriers, great. You'll be okay. You'll go around, you'll shoot stuff, you'll do the thing, it'll be fine. If you play these carriers and you're able to manage your resources, great. You'll go around, you'll do stuff, you'll shoot stuff, it'll be fine. Versatility, if you know how to play it, you know what it can do. You know what you can do in it. So the biggest factor that you should take into account isn't what's the OP of the day, what's the flavor that, flavor of ice cream that everybody says is the best. Pick the thing that works for your carrier player, and that might end up meaning that your clan battle strategy might have to shift a little bit if you want to have the carrier or even double carrier take into account what they can do and plan around it, as opposed to going like, well, Ryujo's amazing, we'll just pick Ryujo and we'll win everything. Yeah, realistically, top picks are going to be the Ryujo. Top pick's going to be the Lowenhart. Ranger's going to be a backup, but the detection is going to be a severely limiting factor. Furious is going to be kind of an off-brand pick. Some people will enjoy it. Arc Royal will probably exist more in lower tiers, just because of the time pressure won't be such of a big deal, and I don't expect to see much Vesser at all, because I don't expect it to be consistent enough to matter. So Ryujo and Lowenhart are definitely going to be the clear winners, with a Ranger coming in second tier. And then after that, it's really how people figure it all out. So this is probably a long rambling recap, and I'm going to bring it to a close. Hopefully that was useful for you. If you have any additional questions, I'm sure you could ask if you can see me on stream, or I'll probably post this on the forum. You could throw a question in the post there. Have a good one.